Hi there. Thank you for tuning in to Grow Your Gifts. Today's topic is risky play or adventurous play. Yeah, risky play is the wording that I learned about in many workshops, especially with early childcare. And it really left an impact on me and even my personal life and my own personal development as an adult, as always. See the trend here, but yeah, just very beneficial and really made me think about things in a different way, in a different perspective. Um, so they call it risky play, but over time, I learned to prefer to call it adventurous play. Um, and when I give more examples about what it is and what it means, it'll make more sense, and I'll get into that later. So, yeah, risky play. So, in a nutshell, it's stepping outside your comfort zone just a little bit. So, as always, health and safety is always at the forefront of every teacher, every educator's mind, every parent's mind. It's all about health and safety when you're working with children, especially. So, and with yourself. So, please keep that in mind. It's not about taking outrageous risks. And we all have a general sense of this is safe and this is not safe. So uh, live and learn, right? That's how it goes. But yeah, just keep that in mind. And it's more about taking gradual steps, appropriate risks, uh, appropriate, um, it's all like gradual. So little by little, as you go, then you'll see that, oh, this is not as uncomfortable as I thought it would be, or this is not as scary as I thought it would be, or things like that. So the real aha moment that I want to share for one of the workshops that they were teaching us about adventurous play or risky play, uh, let's just call it adventurous play for now, is, and I'm probably remembering this all wrong, but the essence is there. So there was, they told us about a group study done over a long period of time, and they had group A and group B, and they were young children, not that young, maybe like 7, 8, like school age. Um, and this was all like controlled environment, so their safety was never an issue. And they had group A was like, so they would they had like a simulated highway type of area, and the cars were going pretty fast, but not that fast. It was all safe. And they encouraged the children to cross that road, um, and so the first group, they said, just try to cross the road if you want to, if you can. If not, that's fine. It was just very like, you know do what feels okay to you, don't worry about it. And that was group A. And then most of the kids were like, I ain't doing this. Like, are you crazy? Those cars are fast. Like, this is not happening. Nobody's here holding my hand. I'm not doing this. See ya. And that was that. So they didn't push it or anything. And then group B was also, that was their initial feeling, like, what? Why are you asking us to do this? This is crazy. But then they coached those kids in group B to be like, okay, this is doable. You can do this. You just need to time yourself. And, the other car will brake if they see you. Like, they were coaching them and giving them tips and ideas and strategies. So when they felt ready, each individual child would then take their turn to try and cross. Maybe they get halfway across and go run back and be like, no, no, no. But they were pushing themselves. on their own terms, little by little, with coaching, with encouragement, to try to do this. I'm not saying do this, do not do this. This is a controlled environment experiment, right? So then, uh, you know, that was to completion. So those children, each of them on their own time, was able to cross that busy road with those fast cars. And the interesting thing is, when, like, fast forward 20 years later, and they looked at the children who are now adults from group A, and they looked at group B, and that was a shocking part. So, we don't want to stereotype. We know there's lots of factors, there's lots of childhood traumas and other things going on. But, I mean, maybe this had something to do with it. So, group A was not really going anywhere in their adult life. Like, they were struggling, they were, dealing with depression or addictions or anger management or conflict resolution or different things. They quizzed them and asked them, like, where are you at, like, in all these areas of your life, and how do you feel, and how do you feel about yourself and your self-worth and your self-confidence. And just generally, it was not good. It was, they were struggling. And in column, the group B, overall, they felt more confident. They felt they had chosen a career that they mostly enjoy, or they had a strong friendship, like social network, or, they felt good about their health and fitness regimen, or, how they feel about their body or their self-image, or like all these different things. Like, just overall, generally, they had something that the other group didn't have. So yeah, this is a lot of generalizations, but I think there's something to it, and I think there's something there. And I was like, what? What is this? Like, this is what? It really sat with me for a long time. Like, risky play or adventurous play, especially to the early childcare setting, that, under, 0 to 5 years old, even 6 years old. It's like, and the lasting impacts that can have, and the way the brain is wired. And, as parents, sometimes you might unconsciously pass down your fears or your discomforts. You don't mean to, but, like, if you have a crippling fear of bees, and every time a bee comes around, you're like freaking out, and your child's observing all this, and then maybe they grow up to also be like, oh no, bees, I'm gonna freak out, then it can be passed down, and you don't mean to do that. So yeah, I'll give a few examples, and maybe that will make it more easy to understand. Let's see, which one should I do first? Maybe I'll go with my personal experience first. That's a fun one. So, growing up, I mean, I had confidence out the wazoo. Some people are like, man, you're too confident, all right? You just reel it in a little bit. So, yeah, as a child, especially in nature and things, I would just go off on my own. I don't even remember. These are stories I heard as a very, very young little one. And I, like, things in nature, I just feel like it's more slow. If I have to imagine, I feel like it's a nice pace. Things are slowed down, and you can stick me almost anywhere in nature, and I will figure a way to, climb this rock, or crawl on all hands and knees and across this ledge, and, I'll figure a way to get where I need to go and do what I need to do. Not as extreme as, like, the show Survivor or anything like that, but I'm willing to take those risks and get out of my comfort zone in nature, in those kind of environments. That's just part of my personality, and I've always kind of had that comfort level with that. And it is scary sometimes, like, oh, it's muddy, and what am I gonna do on a trail or something? But I figure it out little by little. But with things like, yeah, fast moving cars and I'm aware that the driver might not always be aware, and all these things, like maybe they're distracted, like maybe I'm too aware of those things, and it's just moving so fast, and like everyone has different reaction time. Like you can tell I'm already spinning out as a child, like when it comes to crossing the road that's not a stop sign, that's not a traffic light, like basically jaywalking. And back in the 80s and early 90s, it's like there weren't a lot of places to cross, okay? You kind of had to jaywalk to just save time, and the road wasn't even that busy, okay? But it was very hard for me. I could not do it without holding my sister's hand, and even she was like, "Let go of me." I was like, "Okay, let me hold your shirt. Like, let me hold something." And I was like, I'm not. I'm gonna walk the long way if you don't let me hold on to you. Like, it was that bad. It was that extreme. Like, I don't know where that comes from or why. I had that about my personality, but I did. So, uh, fast forward, and I'm hearing about risky play, and is entering my realm. And I'm in downtown Toronto with my sister, and she has to go somewhere, and I have to get to the GO train. It's like too far of a walk, so there's no subway nearby. So I have to take the TTC. Now the TTC streetcar in Toronto, I never took it, and it's weirdly designed, and there's so many cars, so much traffic, and it's in the middle of the road. There's no like very clear, like, this is where you stand, this is where you get on the streetcar, this is where you get off the streetcar. Like, it's just a lot of unknowns. And I'm fine taking public transit like almost anywhere except for here for some reason. So we had a long talk. She had to coach me for like 15 minutes. I was like almost having a panic attack. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'll walk an extra hour. I don't care. I'm not getting on the streetcar. She's like, you can do this. So, yeah, and usually there's a lot of people, then I just follow them and do what they're doing. But it was not that kind of area. I mean, thank goodness it was daytime, but there was not that many people. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to stand. Like, this is like not good. It's not a good scene. And the funny thing is, I was telling a friend this story. And she's like, oh my gosh, oh no, you were freaking out. And it's like, yeah, it was really, like, really difficult. I mean, I got on there eventually, but it was like one of the hardest things I had to do. She's like, oh no, you must have been little. Like, how old were you? Like, I was in my 30s. She's like, what? You were what? Oh no, Hema. It's like, yeah. So that was an issue, I realized. Okay, maybe, so fast forward even more, I recently went on the streetcar by myself at night, no panic attack. My point is, since then, I've been practicing risky play in my own way. So many different little things. I still wasn't happy with the streetcar, but that's more because I'm very organizational and like type A person, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for disorganization, and like I can't even talk to the bus driver. That's another story. Like, there was a lot of traffic. I have valid concerns, okay? And there was no fear though anymore. Whew, that's a huge like relief for me. That I had the confidence to just figure it out at night. And I did. So it was good. I was like, okay, I've made progress. And it was all these little micro decisions, stepping outside my comfort zone and choosing adventurous play. And that came in the forms of crossing that busy road, timing it. And that's what they learned from that group study too, is that those children were learning observation and to time the space and the speed of the vehicles and like all these different things. Like, if you're not pushing yourself a little bit outside your comfort zone to try those things, to learn those things, to observe those things, then your brain's not thinking about it. It's all through direct experience. So that was my takeaway and my aha moment. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep practicing this. Even though the light was there sometimes, I'm like, this is a small town. Yeah, the cars are coming. They're not going that fast. They can brake. And I don't want to inconvenience anyone, but let me just try to cross the street. And I would just keep pushing myself in safe and appropriate ways. Um, and it always went awesome. Sometimes I'd have to fast walk, you know. Never really did I have to run. I was like, okay, my timing's pretty good. Um, like I'm a great driver because I love to drive. So that's the thing. If I love something, if I'm motivated, I'm way better at it. But if I have no motivation for it, I'm like, I don't want to do this. So even though I didn't have motivation, I saw the benefits. It's like eating ginger. Um, I didn't like ginger.
Sorry to interrupt.